In San Francisco in 1851, the formal duel had become a citywide plague. Ruthless men like Charlie Gaiman used the code duello as a blind for murder, hiring expert shots to challenge and kill anyone who stood in their way. Claude Talbot was Charlie Gaiman's man. The California Star had known about them for months. All Jack McGivern needed was proof.
May I have my pistol, sir?
I'm holding this gun as evidence, Major.
Evidence of what?
I'm accusing Charlie Gaiman and your son of murder.
California, California,
The Californians.
California, I've come to live where life is best. In the Golden West, I'm gonna strike it rich in California. California.
Mr. McGivern, an hour ago you charged my son with murder. You're wrong, sir.
Wrong? Bartley never even had a chance to aim. Take a look at this pistol's trigger, Major. It's filed to a hair. If you so much as blow on it, it goes off.
I supplied both pistols for that duel myself, sir. And I tolerate no infractions of the code. Those guns were evenly matched.
What if they were? Bartley was no hand with a gun. He didn't know one end from another.
He had an even chance.
With your son, Major Talbot, there isn't a man in San Francisco can stand against him. That's why Gaiman's been using him.
Mr. Gaiman had nothing to do with it, sir. It was an affair of honor.
Honor, honor. Your son deliberately provoked that duel with Bartley, knowing full well that he'd be killed. Do you want to know why he was killed? Because next week, your son's great friend, Charlie Gaiman, is up on charges of shanghaiing 40 men, and Bartley was to be the chief witness against them.
If I had even suspected my son's motives as such, there would have been no duel. I would have prevented it.
You could have prevented it, and you didn't. Why?
Because there was a lady's honor involved.
A lady's honor. And who's she, pray?
My son is too much of a gentleman to divulge names. But he did tell me that Bartley was forcing his attentions on a certain lady. When my son demanded that he desist, it was Bartley who provoked the duel, not Claude.
You actually believe that, don't you?
I have no reason to doubt my son's word.
Well, I have, sir.
And you still persist in saying that he deliberately committed murder?
I'm not only saying it, I'm printing it.
If you do, sir, be prepared to accept the consequences.
You know, I'd like to know the name of the lady whose honor was involved.
Yeah, so would I. You know, I think I'll have a talk with Martha. She's pretty good ears for this kind of thing. Maybe she heard something.
Yeah, maybe she did.
There's a good deal of woman talk about Claude Talbot, but never a word about Amos Bartley.
Well, is there one particular woman Claude was interested in, who also knew the Bartleys?
Offhand, I'd say no. Have you talked to Hannah Bartley?
No. Should I?
Well, if there were another woman, Hannah would be sure to know about it.
Oh, Martha, you know so little about the world, don't you? If a man is mixed up with another woman, believe me, his wife is always the last one to know about it.
Is she, dear?
It might not be a bad idea to talk to Mrs. Bartley after all. You know, maybe Gaiman hired a woman and used her as a decoy, sicked her on Bartley. Now, if we can prove that, you'll be in the clear and Gaiman will be in the soup.
Now, decoy or not, believe me, Amos Bartley was not the type of a man to get involved with another woman. Now, you're wasting your time, dear. Well, what's on your mind now?
Oh, I was just thinking of how little I know about the world and how much less you know about wives.
Believe me, I wouldn't intrude right now, but we're out to stop Claude Talbot, and we need all the facts we can get. Mrs. Bartley, who else was involved in that duel?
Who else?
We think Charlie Gaiman's behind it. You knew your husband was going to testify against him. Did Gaiman ever come here to the house, or anyone connected with him?
No.
Did your husband tell you why he quarreled with Claude Talbot?
No.
Well, can you think of any reason, then, why your husband would challenge Talbot to a duel?
I have no idea.
We think they tricked him into it.
I wouldn't know.
Do you think it could have been through a woman?
Another woman?
That's what Major Talbot claims. Did you hear any gossip? Do you have any reason to believe that there might have been another woman?
Is that what you're after? Scandal? Isn't it enough that my husband is dead? Must you... Please go. Will you please go?
If we don't get the truth, other men may be killed and other duels instigated by Gaiman. If preventing that means more to you than the possibility of a scandal, get in touch with me. Hello, Major.
What can I do for you, Dean?
Oh, nothing, sir. I just happened to notice your sign, and it occurred to me that I could use $5. Mind?
Not at all, not at all.
Not so good.
Would you like to test this also, dear?
No, sir.
You still think I favored Claude in that duel?
No, I don't.
Dean, I'm proud of my position in this town. It honors me when people come and borrow my equipment, knowing I'd never sanction a duel in which one held an unfair advantage.
But would Claude?
Claude was challenged.
He knew Bartley was no match for him.
My son was defending himself.
He was working for Gaiman.
Dean, I've lived my whole life by the code. That's all that's ever mattered to me, and I've tried to teach that to Claude.
But you can't ignore the record, Major.
The record?
The men Claude has killed. In May, it was a man who refused to pay extortion money to Gaiman. In August, it was a lumber dealer. Gaiman took his business over for a song.
If I thought my son was dishonoring the code, I'd shoot him down myself. If my son quarreled with men who were at odds with Gaiman, it was sheer coincidence.
Oh, Major, is there anything more cowardly than spreading a rumor that a widow's dead husband was unfaithful to her?
Not a rumor, sir. A fact. My son has never lied to me.
Are you sure?
So sure that I'd advise McGivern not to print that story about him.
It's already printed, Major.
Why was Amos Bartley killed?
Yeah, that's McGivern. He keeps pounding and pounding.
But not for long, Charlie. You say he always stops at the same saloon?
Yeah, every evening on his way to supper. Look, McGivern carries a lot of weight. He's got the paper and the vigilantes. He runs this town. But unless you get him, he might stop us.
Nobody stops us. Nobody. We're gonna run this town. We're gonna own it. You understand?
Yeah, sure, Claude. Sure, I understand. But what makes you think you can get him into a duel?
I had no trouble with the others, did I? Let's go have that drink.
Hello, Jim. How are you? Hello. The usual, Luke.
Me too.
Bartender, I believe I will have my drink at a table. I don't stand at the same bar with a liar.
As I was
A
saying...
liar and a coward, sir.
As I was saying, Dean, I can understand a killing that's been done in anger. Now, I don't condone it, mind you, but I can understand it. But a killing that's been planned and contemplated, with one man using another, and the two of them trying to hide the deed behind this so-called code of honor. Now, that's the filthiest kind of murder, and by heavens, we'll have them brought to justice.
I repeat, sir, you are a liar and a coward. And if you aren't going to call me out, then I'm calling you out.
I don't think I quite understood what you said, but if I did, you and Gaiman can go on spouting your names from now until doomsday, but you won't trick me into a duel. Not the way you tricked Amos Bartley. Bartender, give him another drink. He thinks he's a man.
Charlie, I'll get rid of him if it's the last thing I do.
Talbot won't quit. He'll challenge you every time you meet.
Well, all right, good, good. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little notice in the office window tomorrow saying, subscriptions received between 9 and 4, challenges 12 to 1, and under that another notice, 12 to 1 gone to lunch, huh? That's pretty good, huh? You like? All right.
Dean, have you talked to Hannah Bartley?
Oh, now, are you going to start that thing about Mrs. Bartley again?
I've got a hunch she knows why her husband challenged Talbot.
Ah, you haven't got a shred of proof.
Neither of you. And you printed a story. Well, I'm going out for a walk.
Why?
I want to think.
About Mrs. Bartley?
About you. Is Claude around?
No, why?
He was over at the Golden Nugget Saloon tonight.
Any reason he shouldn't be?
He was drinking with Gaiman.
When my son is in his cups, he's seldom choosy about his company.
He also challenged Jack McGivern to a duel.
And for a very good reason. McGivern called him a murderer. In print.
If he fights McGivern, it will be murder. Jack is notorious for being the worst shot in San Francisco.
All the more reason why he should be more temperate in what he writes about people. If Claude hadn't called him out, I would have. I trust McGivern was honorable enough to accept the challenge.
He ignored it. But sooner or later, your son will find a way to make Jack lose his temper. Then he'll rack up another murder on the house. You've got to call Claude off before it's too late.
I refuse to interfere.
Then I will.
Well, if it isn't McGivern's errand boy, what can I do for you?
You can leave McGivern alone.
And let his accusations against me go unchallenged?
If what McGivern printed turns out to be wrong, he's man enough to make a public retraction. All you have to do is prove that you did kill Bartley over a woman's honor. Not as a favor to Gaiman here.
But that would involve the lady in a needless scandal, wouldn't it? No thanks. I'd much rather kill McGivern.
You know what I think? I think if there was another woman involved, you hired her. I also think you're dishonest and a murderer. And if that's not enough...
You'll give me satisfaction for that?
With pleasure.
My seconds will call on you.
Let's settle it now. Usual place, tomorrow at dawn. Bring your friend Gaiman along.
You got challenged by the wrong man.
Did I? Do you know a better way to get McGivern to fight than by killing his best friend?
Claude?
Of course.
Claude, where have you been? It's almost 3 o'clock.
There's too many people around, darling. I don't think this town ever goes to sleep.
You never told me Amos had challenged you. Why didn't you tell me? Claude, why did you kill him? I didn't want him to die.
My dear, you must compose yourself.
Claude, let's get out of San Francisco, please. You said we'd go away.
Soon, Hannah.
When?
A month or two, perhaps.
A month or two? I can't live in this house for 2 months.
Then maybe you'd rather go on alone. I could meet you later in Sacramento.
I don't want to go alone.
I'm afraid that's the only arrangement possible.
Claude, I love you. I want to be with you. You said we'd go together.
I'm sorry, Hannah. I'm staying here. I have some very important work.
You can't. You promised. I won't let you.
Don't you give me orders. And don't try and stand in my way as your husband did.
My husband? What do you mean by that?
Nothing.
You killed Amos deliberately, didn't you?
Not at all. He was man enough to fight for the woman he loved.
You told him about us?
Of course. I demanded that he give you up and stay away from you.
You lie. You killed him because he was going to testify against Charles Gaiman. Dean Patrick knows all about it.
Did you tell Patrick that, or did he tell you?
He told me. I said nothing. I protected you. But now I'm going to talk. I'm going to tell everything.
Will you, Hannah? Will you publish your shame for all of San Francisco to read and talk about? How about your family? How will they take it? No, I don't think you'll tell anything. Here's some money. Take it and go to Sacramento. It's too bad you behaved this way. I might have joined you there. I rather liked you.
There must be some way to be able to nail Gaiman and Talbot. There must be some way to get that proof.
You still don't think Mrs. Bartley can help you?
No, I don't. And don't you try to argue it with me either. Come on in. Ah, Quan, how are you? Thank you. The fool, that dunderhead.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, it's a note from the bartender of the Golden Nugget. Dean picked her out with Talbot. They're fighting a duel in the morning.
He's doing it for your sake, isn't he?
Yes, of course he is. I'm going to stop it. Bye, darling. Addle-pated idiot.
Hannah? It's Martha McGivern. Hannah? 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 Listen to me. You've got to tell me what you know about your husband's death. Is there something you know? Tell me, please.
What difference does it make now?
You may be able to save someone else. Dean Patrick is fighting a duel with Claude Talbot. Hannah, unless that duel is called off, Claude is sure to kill Dean, just like Amos.
What can I do? The only one who can stop it is Claude's father, but he won't. He didn't stop the one with Amos.
They say the fight was over a woman. Dean thinks she was used deliberately to decoy your husband into the duel. Is that true?
Yes.
If we can convince Major Talbot of this, we'll be able to save Dean's life. Hannah, who is the other woman?
Leave me alone. I don't know. I don't know.
Mr. Talbot hasn't arrived, sir. I'm afraid you're first. Sir, the code allows only participants.
Stand aside, you silly peacock, or you'll be strutting around with no feathers in your tail. Well, go on, get out of the way. Dean, I forbid this. You can't do it. Now, I won't let you do it, I'm telling you.
It's done.
Look, it's me he's after. It's my fight. Now, let me fight him and get it over with.
Don't argue, Jack. Go on home. You couldn't hit the side of a barn.
Don't you understand what he's doing? He's hoping that I'll challenge him if you lose.
Well, I don't figure to lose.
All right, then. All right, suppose you win. What's everyone going to say? That I put you up to it, that I didn't have the courage to stand up to him myself. I'll be the laughing stock of the whole town.
Don't try to blarney me, Jack. You tried, now go on home.
It's here I am, and this is where I'm going to stay.
They won't let you stay. It's against the code.
Oh, it is it? Now, I'd like to see the man that'll try and stop me. Dean, don't go through with this. Call it off. Dean, I'm asking you.
He's no match for you, Claude.
I hope to prove that, sir.
You know it now. You could still withdraw. There'd be no loss of honor in that.
I'm sorry, sir.
Mr. Patrick, sir.
Major Talbot?
Dion, it's not too late. A simple apology would abrogate this meeting.
I'm sorry, Major.
Major Talbot, I believe we're in violation. This gentleman is not a participant, but he refuses to leave.
That's entirely correct. Here I am, and here I'm going to stay.
I'm afraid, sir, you're forcing us to postpone this meeting.
Give me your gun. Drop that on McGivern's saddle and head back to town. Jack will be acting in your place. All right, you're a participant now. We're ready, sir.
To ensure he's not wearing any hidden protection. You have the same privilege, sir.
Thank you, Major.
My apologies, sir. I'm so used to carrying it.
Yes. I'd venture to say that you even wore this when you were facing Amos Bartley.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hold the count. 4. The count, I said. Are you deaf?
Major Talbot!
Martha, what are you doing here?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a woman's honor involved in Amos Bartley's death.
I wasn't worth it, but my husband died for love of me.
Ma'am, I don't understand.
I'm Mrs. Amos Bartley. My husband was killed because he refused to give me up to Claude. Not that Claude wanted me, it was to keep Amos from testifying against Charles Gaiman.
Claude.
Sir, this is most embarrassing to me, having to deny a lady's word. You're mistaken, ma'am. We've never met before.
I'd like to think we hadn't met. That I have this to remind me of what I am, the price you set on me. Oh, I'll admit it's more than I'm worth. By the way, Claude, what are you doing on a field of honor among gentlemen? You're as out of place here as I am.
I warned you to shut your mouth!
Claude! My son's pistol is at your disposal, sir.
How is he, Doctor?
Not too good. You could have killed him, Major. Why didn't you do it?
Why? I didn't want to spoil him for the hanging, son. And besides...
Yes. And besides...
It's empty.
California. Oh, I've traveled here, I've traveled there. I guess I've been most everywhere. But I like where I am today, and here is where I'll stay. Now, one thing I just can't endure is being broke and being poor. So I come west to take the cure, and here is where I'll stay. I've come to California, California. There's gold in them there hills in California. I've come to live where life is best. In the golden west, I'm gonna strike it rich in California.